Let's take a look at the tweet that Ed Werder of ESPN, who is living in Dallas, put out just this morning. He says, from sources, Dez Bryant personally called Cowboys Executive Vice President Stephen Jones, that's Jerry's son, to say he won't attend camp and will miss real games unless signed by Wednesday. Now, we should tell you that Stephen Jones denied that he received a message from Dez Bryant, denied that he talked about it. But they deny everything. Of course he did. The Cowboys always deny these reports. The
Broncos deny everything.
And Ed is a damn good reporter. I know you and I both know Ed personally.
Yes.
I believe him when he puts this tweet out.
No question.
So let's start with Dez Bryant very quickly and then move to Demaryius Thomas. Do you think Dez Bryant is serious about this?
Not to be dismissive of your question, I don't care what Dez Bryant does.
Yeah.
I care what Demaryius Thomas does. And the problem is that it seems like Demaryius Thomas is waiting for Dez Bryant's deal to get done.
I don't get that. I don't get that whole thing.
Why
do they have to wait? You know, Dez Bryant's numbers are as good, if not better, or excuse me, Demaryius Thomas's numbers are as good, if not better, than Dez Bryant's. So why wait?
Well, I'll tell you why. Because I think that if Dez Bryant signs first, Demaryius Thomas's camp will say he's better than Dez Bryant. If Demaryius signs first, Dez is going to claim we're better than Demaryius Thomas, and that's why we want more. I think it's that simple. Do you disagree?
No, that does make sense. But if you're better, if you believe you're better, if you believe you should be getting more money, just go get the deal done. Well, I think, why do you need comparisons here? Nobody's going to get Calvin Johnson money.
Right.
I think everybody knows what Dez Bryant and Demaryius Thomas are worth.
Isn't it fair to say though that Demaryius thinks he's better than Dez and Dez thinks he's better than Demaryius, and the numbers mean nothing when it comes to receiving yards and catches. The only number that means anything in professional sports is
the guaranteed money.
The money that you are getting from your team. That is validation. If I make more money than you, whether I'm better than you or not, my contract says I am better than you, and that's just the truth of the way professional sports work. It is catty, but that's just the way it is.
I think there are other factors here. I think Dez Bryant knows he has the Cowboys over a barrel. Number one, he knows that Jerry Jones loves him some star players.
Yeah.
And he's got to have Dez Bryant in uniform. Not just because of that, but because they don't have DeMarco Murray. Their whole running back situation is up in the air. Tony Romo, you don't know from one year to the next how healthy he'll be or how consistent he'll be. You know Dez Bryant is a great talent, and you know that you need him right now, especially with an unknown running game.
Right.
Dez Bryant has more leverage in his negotiations with Dallas right now than DT has in his negotiations with the Broncos.
I would agree and disagree, which is kind of talking out of both sides of my mouth, so I'll ask you this question. Do you think with Dez Bryant the Cowboys are serious Super Bowl contenders?
That defense is vastly improved. Okay. I think they did a really good job in the offseason. They picked up a bunch of questionable guys of questionable character.
Right.
But I think if Dez Bryant is there and Tony Romo is healthy and they figure out some semblance of a running game, I think it's going to be a good team. I don't think they're a Super Bowl contender.
Okay. If they were a Super Bowl contender, I'd say that Dez Bryant has them over a barrel. When you look at the Broncos are also considerably better with Demaryius Thomas. And with Peyton Manning possibly going into his final year, and he's all itchy about his favorite wide receiver getting in there, with a new offense, you can make the case that Demaryius has more leverage.
Disagree. Tell you why. Without Demaryius, the Broncos are still a Super Bowl contender. They've still got Emmanuel Sanders. They've still got a very talented young man named Cody Latimer.
Don't know anything about him.
They've got a good stable of tight ends. They're going to rely on their running game more, and they're going to rely on their defense more. They're not going to rely on their wide receivers as much.
Okay.
Am I advocating that they not sign Demaryius Thomas? No, I'm advocating they do.
Right.
But I'm telling you, my opinion, that the Cowboys are going to miss Dez Bryant. He's bigger to that team overall than Demaryius Thomas is to his team.
But I believe that even with Dez Bryant, because you have the Seahawks in the NFC and the Packers in the NFC, maybe you can throw in another team, I don't think that they're going to make the Super Bowl with Dez Bryant.
Well, the Cowboys aren't thinking that way. They think they need him to make the Super Bowl.
Well, I don't care how they
If they don't have him and they don't have DeMarco Murray, what do they have on offense?
They have a great offensive line.
Okay.
They have an unbelievable offensive
So
line.
they're going to protect the quarterback who has nobody great to throw to,
right.
And they're going to block for who at running back? Right. Darren McFadden?
If you have a great offensive line, anybody can run behind it. Anybody. Here, okay, let's put something in perspective here then. Let's use LaShawn McCoy, and I know we're going to be talking about LaShawn McCoy, and the guy from, you just mentioned his name, I'm spacing out. DeMarco Murray.
Yeah.
Okay. If they were so great, how come they're with new teams this year? Why has the running back position been completely devalued when the NFL's NFL's leading rusher from last year is with a new team, and then the NFL's leading rusher from 2 years ago is with a new team? Apparently, these teams don't believe that they need a stud running back. They need a really good offensive line.
The team that lost LaShawn McCoy went out and signed DeMarco Murray. So evidently they do believe they need a stud running back.
Okay. Well, we'll see how DeMarco Murray runs behind that Eagles line as opposed to all of those corn-fed mules up front.
Yeah, maybe not as well, but he'll still do okay, my guess. Harmony Foundation is Colorado's premier treatment program for drug and alcohol addiction. It's located just outside of Estes Park. They've got a very nice, a very private 45-acre mountain campus. They are insurance friendly, so check them out. Visit harmonyfoundationinc.com.